Welcome to You Are Buzzworthy. When I started my business in 2005, I was obsessed with the big advertising agencies and media companies' walls of awards. So to battle the lack of glass on my walls, I postured that my company was more concerned about results than awards. I even had a slogan, less prestige, more results. Over the years, I've accumulated a lot of metal and glass, but the question still remains, do they even matter? Does spending time going after awards worth the energy and sometimes cost to getting them? To answer my question today is Vinnie Potestivo. He is an Emmy award-winning media advisor who grows personal brands and scales founder-led businesses by increasing content distribution, brand visibility, and media reach. He is also a Google News source that connects independent creators with opportunities to grow their careers and get discovered. Welcome to the show, Vinnie.
Yo, thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
This is awesome. So you're on the East Coast. You're in New York?
Hanging out in Brooklyn, as most Vinnies I know do, by the way. I got all my cousins are lucky. They got my cousin Vinnie. This is like the running joke of my life.
One of my favorite movies growing up was My Cousin Vinnie.
Mine too.
Especially when she had her, she was on the stand and she was like schooling them about the treads. I was just like blown away. I'm like, that was so cool.
You'll hear me say a couple of times, and then you should go over there. And like, did you say Utes? Did you?
I have an uncle who lives just north of New York. He's got a wine a store, as all Polish Italians should have. So yeah, we're a Polish Italian Basinskis here. So
yeah, nice. I like that. Yeah, that sounds like a pass-through company, but we'll save that for a different episode.
Oh, here we go. Okay, that's a different.
That's here in Brooklyn too. And here I understand. It's funny. My family was raised here in Brooklyn. They left. They went to Staten Island, which is where they made me, and then I came all the way back here to Brooklyn. So not much of a traveler. Why go places when every place comes to you? This is the beauty of New York. I can stand still and meet a million people quicker than I could if I tried to move around.
All right. Well, let's get to brass tacks here. Do industry awards really matter?
Right. And I love that you're asking the Emmy award-winning media advisor. By the way, I can answer this two ways because I'm both. I'm both an award winner and a not award winner. I made a very conscious decision to go out after that Emmy. 25 years in media, it took me to win my first Emmy, which I just won last year. And I won it for a really cool documentary about life after rehab. So where intervention kind of picks up, with the intervention and it leads with, and then everything happened happily ever after. They go into rehab. I am a child whose parents were in and out of rehab and can tell you that the real work starts, after. And I thought it was a great opportunity to put my name on something and be loud and proud. But that was the construct of me winning the award. I actually looked for a way to win that award. I felt like the Emmy Award substantiates my 25-year media journey. And I've been part of gigantic killer franchises that changed the scope of unscripted reality TV programming, or even just what's happening on streaming and on cable, and big props to Ashton Kutcher and the Osbournes and Jessica Simpson and a couple of housewives here and there that really helped me solidify the power of storyteller. For me, I've always focused on the character, and characters apply themselves. Awards don't happen overnight. Awards are a result of application. There isn't one person who wins an award that doesn't have to either apply or comply for it.
Right.
You can be nominated for it, but you also have the ability to, not receive it or take your name, out of it. But no one wins an award that hasn't asked for it. Beyonce didn't just wake up and get her 9 Grammy nominations this year because she did a good job. She applied for every single award, and it cost thousands of dollars. We know this being internal, the cost that it takes. And what's, I think, lost is how people use it, the power of the award. What does it really mean? How does it really translate, beyond barriers? The answer, I think, for that is, depends on you and how you leverage it and use it and win it, and the whole entirety of the journey. It certainly isn't about winning the that award that matters. But I'll say this: that single title, being able to add Emmy award winning media advisor to my title, has changed my career for sure. I mean, I'm a step outside, as I'm no longer an executive at network. So as I'm looking to build my own personal brand outside, it's something that translates beyond just my, vertical industry. And it's really been something that I think is a part of other people's language. So there's like, I don't need to educate people on what the award is. There's already an awareness of it. But not all awards have that level of awareness, right?
True. So how do you think that translates outside of media and entertainment?
Yeah. At that point, it becomes like, why is that relevant? Or even, to be honest, how is that relevant? I talk about being a media advisor when I'm trying to help people connect. And I help people connect through mass media, broad media, narrow media, pod media. So like I'm really, really passionate about helping people connect. That's the casting part of me. Casting is connecting these two pieces together. Casting is actually connecting with one person and bringing them in. Any definition of casting that you look at will give you that. So podcasting is the same for me. I need one listener to listen to this one sound over and over and over again. How awards play into that? Look, awards are cyclical. So award cycle is something on an annual basis or quarterly basis, maybe, that allows me to talk about some accomplishments, that allows me in a group setting to apply to receive a nod in accomplishments on an annualized basis. So it's not like I have one shot in my entire life of ever winning an Emmy. I get one shot a year. Once I figured that
For
out,
most of them, they are. Yeah.
Once I figured that out, once I figured like, why don't I have an Emmy? And I realized, well, first off, in reality TV, back when I was doing reality TV, there wasn't an Emmy award for casting. There were Emmy awards for producing, but there wasn't an Emmy award for casting like there is now. So the category didn't exist when I was doing what I was doing. The second thing is to win an award in television, you needed to be a producer. So it became a goal of mine as a casting director and talent executive to become a producer, just so I could have the credibility of having an Emmy or being an Academy Award winner and working with and alongside those peers, because I understand the peer-to-peer recognition on that. But
I think I think that right there can translate down into, say, service-based businesses, and even product business. I mean, if you take a look at vehicles, right? If you buy a car, you've got all of these safety awards, and they use those awards to tell people like, hey, this has been recognized for excellence, right? And there's those industry awards for any type of industry you're in, any type of service, right? There is an association that's out there. For me, I'm a marketer. So the American Marketing Association has given me a bunch of glass over the years. And so I think that what I'm hearing you say is that we can utilize these awards to build up the trustability factor in our marketing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. It's and there are different award structures, different constructs that allow you to do it differently. The Tellys, for example, are a board of jurors who basically evaluate each individual project against the same set of goals, as opposed to the Academy Awards, where it ultimately comes down to a top 5, and then there's a competition between individual people. There are structures where we're up against our own selves.
Right.
It's hard.
Which is really weird.
The top 1% are platinum receiving, the top 5% are gold receivers, the top 10, 20% maybe are silver, receiving. So they've incrementally found ways to allow us to celebrate our strengths. And these awards are not just best picture, best actor, best writer, best content. There are marketing awards, newsletter awards. One of my favorite awards, how about this? I haven't said this yet. Be careful about this, but I'm ready to do this. 2023, I want to win a Stacky. This is a fun one.
The Stacky. What is
the Stackies are when you're a little bit ahead of like you see the need and you start piecing together some apps and you figure out, well, I can IFTT this and zap it here, and if I can get this spreadsheet to talk to this macro, and if I can stack some technology
So it's
on
like a
top of
tech
each
stack
other.
award.
It's a tech stack award.
There it is.
And
Oh, very cool.
that's the
So
goal for me.
let's.
It's
So when we're
unique,
talking,
and I
say
think that
what?
I think that's unique. I think that the Stacky Award for me makes sense as my next award to go out for, because I just won an Emmy. What would make people turn their head more than if I won? If I won a second Emmy, you'd be like, yeah, you won the first one and you've been doing this 25
Yeah.
years. So we kind of
Right.
expect you. But the tech stack one, walk us through exactly how you landed on that. And that's, I like putting myself in a situation where just by being in that position, it looks intriguing and interesting and fascinating. And we're not always lucky enough to be, early adopters and seen as the first people in the room. But if you have the most unique positioning in the room, a lot of that with POV, I think you can really stand out from the get-go.
I think you just started touching on something that's very important. It's not the getting the award is the beginning of why you get an award. Right. And I feel that like a lot of people, they'll do the press release, right? They'll put it on their website for social proof. They'll share it on all their social media, what they're supposed to do and all that good stuff, right? Maybe even write a blog, case study about it. So to push their SEO and all that other stuff. But then it starts collecting dust. And not just the award starts collecting dust, but all of the things that they talked about, it just goes into the wayside instead of continually bringing back into the fold the fact that they are I'm a best-selling author or an award-winning marketer or award-winning producer and all those things in the conversations we have as we go. I feel like we need to continue to bring it into the conversations we have in like just person to person in sales and whatnot. What are other ways we could keep fresh the fact that we've won these awards for years to come?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, because look, when the goal is the award, of course, there's going to be a point where that goal has been met and it is now old news. I honestly, I start with an empty shelf. I start with my thank yous. There's my acceptance speech. Those people that's the motivation for me throughout the year. That's the energy for me throughout the year to keep doing. Now that I'm thinking about this, I started talking about the project before I even started talking about the award because I'm so passionate about the topic. That being an Emmy award winning media advisor and my entire business, that I'm able to in the first few minutes of this share that I'm so human and I've gone through what more people will probably connect with and relate to me on going through, having a family member go through rehab and having to figure out the constructs, the social construct of that all. Unfortunately, more people will have that in common with me than being, head of talent at MTV. But we all have the ability to take our lives and take control over how they're seen. Awards are a way for us to share our accomplishments, are a way to leave our breadcrumbs and our footprints. But you have to be mindful that that's temporary.
Right.
It's temporary.
So how do we monetize? Is there a way to monetize that then?
Yeah, for me, awards go on my sponsor deck immediately. I also am a fan of sharing goals. I like letting people know that I'm looking for certain goals. It allows them to hop onto projects with me, knowing that I've got goals larger than just distribution or larger than just getting a show on an air. When they understand the real impact that I'm looking to make, the fact that I'm talking about stackies when I should be just focused on media related awards. I want people to do things with the content that they're watching. Y'all were lucky. You got the 20 years ago, Vinnie, I gave you, TRL and the Osbournes and punk. And I kept you comfortable in that seat. Now it's time to go and take action. And that's I think why I'm really called to say stackies to me feels like the next the next place.
So you're keeping people up to date with like, hey, we were here. This is the impact that we created to even be given this award, because really that was the most important thing to you. And because of that, now we have this new vision that builds upon that impact. And this is where we're at now.
Yeah,
right. So as an Emmy
that.
Award winning media advisor, I now have a mission to do this, and this, which to the people who are in the know means that I'm going after a stacky. Right. And so you're utilizing that in your marketing message, not necessarily a big banner on the top of your website or maybe a sign in front of your store there, because, a lot of our listeners, they're service-based business. They deal with other business owners. They deal with home owners. They're just the day-to-day services that we give in there. And I think that for the audience here real quick, what Vinny's talking about here is very relatable to your business, in that there are customer service awards out there, there are industry awards out there, and all of the other types of social proof that you can put in front of both. I mean, I've seen it in brochures, websites, the whole 9 yards. You can be proud of them for years and remember that those are there. And having the year to year, when it comes to say like Diamond Awards for customer service, having them for 5 years in a row is a much different prospect than getting 5 Emmys in a row, right? It's like totally different. But when somebody sees that you got 5 of those and they're all sequential years, and the last one was just this past year, guess what? Those people have a lot more trust in your business. So in that sense right there, you want to keep them forefront, keep them dusted, and make sure that you point at them on a regular basis, and remember and remind everybody that, hey, to get the 6th one, we got to do just as good, if not better, so that we can continue that streak.
Yeah. You bring up this, it proves consistency, which could be something really difficult to prove of and in the moment. But when you're able to say, well, we're 7 times best, Dallas's number one XYZ, or it could be local, it could be global, it could be, digital.
National, yeah.
It's a really great way to prove that. It's kind of like why we would put established in 1970 something, in our business
right,
around
exactly.
for that long. It literally, I think, has that same level of credibility to it as well. And then the power of awards, by the way, it's great to receive them. We've talked a lot about receiving them, but also as an employer, the power of giving awards. I mean, talk about retention and celebration in a way to identify strengths and connect people through, beyond just end of year, superlatives and some of the fun ways we do it. And those fun business ways, I don't want to discredit Bachelor of the Year and Bachelorette of the Year, like from a business. I can't tell you how many times as a New Yorker, I've opened up the New Yorker and I've seen 50 men, 50 people there, all being single and boastful about their businesses. It's just another social construct, another way that we can fracture your business that makes you more fascinating, more interesting to an audience that otherwise already knows you. And awards allow you to be, they feel part. They win. They win. They feel seen. Your audience, who's they? The people around you, they feel seen and heard, and they're lucky to be watching you. Then it's your responsibility to make sure that they feel that way.
Exactly. I got a top 40 under 40, which was something. I was in Alaska at the time, and there was basically a statewide search for the top 40 up and coming executives, just people on the move type of thing, under 40 years old, right? And I had just got out of the Air Force, and I think it was my 2nd or 3rd year in business, and I was a go-getter. I've always been kind of a hard hitter when it came to getting some trajectory and going, right? And so, but I put it in for the first year, and I think I was 32. So it was the 2nd year I was in business. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to get this. And they put me on that list. And I was like, you got to be kidding. I'm getting an award I'm 32 years old, and I'm having lunch with the mayor of Anchorage.
It's amazing.
This is going out in a magazine. All of those things go along with it. But that type of exposure at the local level and a state level is huge for a young business. right? It really shows people that, hey, listen, this person has purpose, they have direction, and they have conviction. And if you want to do business with them, you're going to get that. You're going to get the conviction. You're going to get the direction. You're going to get that passion. And I think that's so important for people to be able to recognize that within themselves and allow themselves to be celebrated. It's not boasting if it's true.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. No, but you need that little flag in the air waving around, making sure people see you. There are so many people there's so much overlap over what we do now, even more so than ever. It's funny to think I once thought that I was so unique. Who would ever go around teaching people how to talk about themselves on camera and help them build an on-camera brand and personal brand? Who else was doing that? I felt so alone in this world. Now I feel so connected because I have the vocabulary of so many people around me. And I realized it's the background, and I really appreciate you even letting me get to talk about Staten Island and New York. And it's our background that kind of really makes us unique. These awards, it's nice to be seen by the industry if you're within the industry. You might be outside of my industry, know that the Emmys is an important industry. And because my industry preference on that award, understand the impact it has. It allows me to show up in a way that might not have otherwise let me. It allows me to be discovered. It allows me to be visible, and it allows this visibility to be shared. And sharing visibility, that's where discovery happens. And winning the award, that just makes me visible. And sharing that moment in my thank you speech and the actions I take afterwards, we talk about award winners. We talk about who didn't get the award. We talk about, are they going to get the award? We care. We buy into the win and loss of an award. It doesn't mean the action failed. It doesn't mean that the original concept, the goal itself, didn't generate whatever it's supposed to generate, impact, money and impact, if you're lucky to get both. Like creativity, the more creativity you have, the more you spend, the more you have. Money, the more you spend, the less you have. Why do we want creative success and financial success from the same property? But we know they're not built the same way. But we'll say that for another episode. What's important though is that financial return. And I think that awards are one of those immediate. It'll get you in local news. It has the ability to get you in papers. It has the ability to get you immediate press. And there's also, if you play it correctly, like as we mentioned, putting badges on your website, communicating annually what you're applying for, that there's an evergreen strategy to the effects that winning awards brings to the business as well.